Hey guys, Anthony here, Sunday, December 6th, 2015. I got a little glare coming in from the window, so one side of my face looks brighter than the other. I hope it enhances my features for you. Posted a couple videos today on the new Glock 42 that I picked up yesterday. Actually, my wife purchased it for me for Christmas. That's her Christmas present to me, and she gave it to me early. Because we're going to be traveling and I wanted to fire it and shoot it and get it all worked in before we travel so we could have it as a primary or a backup carry firearm for the road. And so I posted a video on that and showed some additional things that I purchased for it: the Remora holster, the Pierce +1 extension for to get your pinky on it and to give you one more round of firepower. A lot of people, nobody has said it yet, but people do say, oh, 380, you should have went with a 9mm. I have many 9mm, including a M&P Shield by Smith & Wesson in 9mm. That's small, a smaller 9mm and concealable also. I wanted something a little lighter. I was going to get a Ruger LCP in 380. Looked at it. It is a little smaller, a little bit easier to conceal than the Glock 42. I think the LCP is 9 ounces, the Glock 42 is 13 ounces, a little bit bigger. But I went with the Glock because I'm just more comfortable with the Glock platform, including breaking it down, how it operates, cleaning it, just my preference. So, and then the 380 caliber, again, I haven't seen anyone that is willing to stand in front of a 380 and take 7 or 8 shots in the face or in the sternum with it. So. When you're shooting a bad guy, he's not going to sit there and tell you that your caliber is not strong enough. He's either going to be down dead on the floor or turning and running away, for the most part. What did I want to talk about today? Oh, and then I also posted a quick video on my gun cleaning kit. I showed you how I keep it in that Plano, I guess it's like an ammo can, fishing box, whatever you want to use it for. Put the link for it in. They're less than 20 bucks. You can get them online. And again, I keep all my gear in that one box. I keep it labeled because in other boxes I do have ammo, so I could grab that if I'm going to the range or if I'm grabbing and going. I know I got gun cleaning essentials with me to take on and also to keep everything stored nice and neat in its place. Today's video, the purpose I wanted to do is introduce a book that I read several months ago. I just hadn't got around to making a video on it. But now that we're seeing more and more, you're reading more and more online and stories on genetics, different nanotechnologies. There's technology called GRIN, G-R-I-N. There's robotics. There's all kinds of things. There's things that have been in the news lately with cloning issues, human enhancement issues, crossbreeding. They're already crossbreeding plants to create these genetically modified organisms that many of us are ingesting and eating and not knowing what the full ramifications of that is going down the road. But there's this whole movement called Trans-Humanism that this book talks about. Forbidden Gates by Tom and Nita Horn. Tom and Nita Horn. Tom was a pastor. They're Christians. They have been writing several books. At least Tom has, and he's been on the History Channel, different news broadcasts, Christian broadcasting. You've probably read about him. You may have read about him in the paper, or read some of his books, or read some of his articles. I read this book. It was absolutely mind-boggling. Not so much of the prolific writing that Tom produces, but the technologies that are coming out there and what ramifications they have, not only for a general person, in the population, but a Christian in general. The spiritual warfare that we are going to be facing moving forward from now and in years forward is going to be it's going to be mind-blowing, because it's going to take a person that you're really going to have to be grounded in Christ and into the Bible and into spiritual warfare to understand that you cannot stand on this ground without knowing the ramifications of trying to stand alone. It's going to be absolutely mind-boggling. And I can read you a couple excerpts here, but they're planning on merging or crossbreeding humans with animals. I mean, think of the implications of that. Merging a human with, say, a lion or a tiger or something like that. Number one, what do you get? Number one, is it human? Does it have a soul? The implications are going to be, there's whole fields of legal issues developing now that they're trying to address because this technology is taken off around the world. It's being funded, well funded by globalists and others that want to see it go. I believe that's one of the reasons why in our country we're seeing this big push to accept everything that's not traditional or not grounded in moral and Christian values. We're seeing, kind of this melting pot in the sexual awareness arena because this transhumanism movement is going to take us to a whole nother level. And so I think they're getting us ready for that transition where in the future you may look at somebody and not even know that they're not human. Things like downloading information that's in your brain and putting it onto a disk or a hard drive, and then putting it into an artificial intelligence, like a robot or something. What are the implications for that? Not only just regular implications, but what are the implications for that as a Christian? It's enough to rattle your brain, and it's enough to get you, make you fearful. But in this book, Tom addresses in a good way, in good balance, what the implications are and what we as Christians need to do to be prepared for this. Because it is coming, guys. It's here. It's happening. These technologies, however far-fetched you think they are going on. They're being implemented, experimented with, and the crossbreeding and cloning is happening. And they're just not telling you. I'm going to read you just a couple of people that wrote about the book here on the back cover. You're about to discover that science is on the verge of creatures we have never seen before, having the abilities we cannot imagine. Your eyes are about to be opened. Take it from someone who has just made the trip. Forbidden Gates is the game changer for spiritual warfare. That's David Hitt, H-I-T-T. He's a patent attorney. So attorneys and legal people, legal minds, and medical and ethical people are involved in this because there's so much at stake and so many questions arising from these technologies that are coming down the pipe. Mind-bending, terrifying, emerging technology will change everything we have ever known about spiritual warfare. This is the most forward-thinking work for the church in a decade. And that's from Joe Artis. He's a Artist Expressway, I guess is the name of his company. This third one says, according to findings that burst forth in the exhaustive research, we could be witnessing the last generation of humans as God made them. Think about that, the last generation of humans as God made them, as man tinkers with this technology to become a God himself. And it goes on in the back of the thing here to talk about the transhumanist movement has been embraced in its deepest and darkest chambers of the military. There's implications in the military, creating a super soldier, maybe a soldier that doesn't need to eat as often, that doesn't need to rest, that doesn't need to sleep, that's enhanced in some way, whether it's through drugs or through a combination of merging robotics and human together. So that's coming down the pike in the military arena. Artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, green technologies that I talked about before are envisioned as tools that will radically redesign our minds, our memories, our physiology, our offspring, even perhaps our very souls. So as man tinkers with this technology, what are the ramifications that can come about if you embark down this road or create a creature that you don't know what what it is really. You don't know what it is. If it's merged with if a human merged with an animal, say, does that creature have a soul? Can it be redeemed? Those are the Christian implications on the subject. But whether you're a Christian or not, I think this book is a good read. Not so much for the spiritual warfare end of it. If you're, again, not a believer, or you don't believe in spiritual things, or you don't believe in God, you should still read this book, because it's going to unleash things that are going to impact you in the future, you and your family, and are going to be important to know about these technologies. So that's the reason I wanted to do this video, just introduce you to this book, Forbidden Gates. I'll put the link. You can get it on Amazon or in your bookstore. You can get it electronically if you want. I like to get it in the regular book format. But we're going to also be making a comment on President Obama's speech tonight at 8 p.m. that he's going to give to the nation, an address, I guess, on terrorism or the latest attacks in San Bernardino in California. I'm going to make a comment on an article, some comments before that on an article that I have here, and we'll go through that, and I'll put some of my 2 cents in and what I think is going on, just to get everybody ready, because what's going on is not a fight against terrorism. It's an attack on American culture, values, morals, an attack, an affront on God, and it's an attack on our economic life, our way of life, and it's a continual onslaught to bring this country down and create it or make it something that it is not, never intended to be. And so those forces are continuing, and they will continue no matter what the president says tonight. And I'll comment further on that in another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay ready, stay armed, stay safe, and stay prayed up, most of all. Take care. Anthony signing off.